Hello! And our next movie is the comic book action film Kick-Ass. This movie opened nationwide on Friday, April 16, 2010, and is adapted from the comic book of the same name. This movie stars Aaron Johnson, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Chloe Grace Moretz, Mark Strong, and Nicolas Cage. This film comes to us from director Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn used to work hand in hand as producer to Guy Ritchie's director in such films as Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Then after stepping into the director's chair for the very first time in the very underrated Layer Cake, he showed us that he could handle more than the reins of an entire feature, as well as being able to discover major talent such as Daniel Craig, who was cast only as James Bond after being seen in the movie Layer Cake. Kick-Ass tells the story of just any old average teenager with average teenager problems. Our hero, or soon-to-be hero I should say, is Dave Lazowski. He lives the life of any common citizen, but secretly fantasizes about what it would be like to live the life of a superhero. Right off the bat, I love the fact that he actually discusses this point with his two friends. Without giving away what he intends to do, they talk openly about how a normal person would probably never be able to be a superhero because they would probably end up in the hospital or dead after just a few days. Or how superheroes have superpowers, or they have a bankroll the size of Gotham City. I guess something to make them super. Well, throwing all caution to the wind, Dave buys a green outfit and soon attempts to thwart crime in the city. He becomes what he is called, as he calls himself I should say, kick-ass, but I think he should call himself ass-kicked. He meets with disastrous circumstances and soon questions whether or not he should have done this in the first place. He gives it another go soon enough and is caught being heroic on many camera phones and surveillance videos, which in turn make him an internet sensation literally overnight. He then comes to realize that there are other actual superheroes out there called Big Daddy and Hit Girl. Now, Big Daddy and Hit Girl are a very far cry from what you would call schmoes, and they distinguish themselves as anything but. They have very cool weapons and a detailed plan to take down the Frank D'Amico crime family. Frank D'Amico is played by the always credible Mark Strong, and his wannabe son, Chris, is portrayed by Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Now, I just need to compare this to both Disney's The Incredibles and Zack Snyder's The Watchmen from just last year. Both of these projects have taken superhero films to the next level, I believe, by exploring social issues that go right along with the words and the worlds given to the audience. Whether it's the consequences of being sued for being a superhero, or like this film where you become a YouTube phenomenon, it just raises common sense questions and issues that always seem to avoid films like Daredevil and Ghost Rider. I think the highlight of this film is the wonderful characters that accompany it. Nick Cage and Mark Strong give very strong performances, and Kick-Ass's alter ego Dave Lazowski couldn't be more likable. However, the breakout star of this feature is Chloe Grace Moretz as Hit Girl. Hit Girl is one truly amazing character to watch. She is the coolest, most killer, badass chick to grace the silver screen since Uma Thurman slashed her way through both of Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill films. And it's not just her acrobatics. She delivers the best hardcore lines and dialogue of any teenager I have ever seen on the silver screen. Chloe Grace Moretz is nothing short of a wonderful breath of fresh air, and I hope to see her in many films to come. Now, there is also the secondary storyline involving yet another superhero named the Red Mist. Red Mist is actually Chris D'Amico, son of mob boss Frank D'Amico. Red Mist befriends our hero Kick-Ass only with the intention of setting him up. He wants to use Kick-Ass in order to bring down him, Big Daddy, and Hit Girl. He is essentially working directly with his dad to help destroy our would-be superheroes, but he also does bring some light humor to our story. This brings me to the fact that this is also a very funny film. There are many laughs throughout this movie, and it really doesn't hold back on any level. The language is profane, the violence is graphic, and the action is big. I also love the fact that this film progresses into an actual superhero film. There is a storyline that builds throughout this feature, and it's credible. And the best part of the film Kick-Ass is that it never loses its own personality or originality the entire running time. I found that the climax of this film to be very thrilling and exciting. I was actually leaning forward on the edge of my seat throughout the whole finale. I really could nitpick and say that the film just got a little too over the top right near the end, or that the filmmakers leave you with an out-and-out sequel ending, but I loved almost every minute of this movie. At just under 2 hours, I thought that Kick-Ass was hugely entertaining, having never felt even remotely lengthy. This feature is full of rich characters that you love to watch and enjoy, and the originality that goes along with it is also quite refreshing. Kick-Ass is an absolute solid film that I believe could have even held its own right in the middle of the summer movie season. 3.5 stars out of 4. And remember, people, I'm not always right, only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.